First, the top headlines. Manipur's farmland falls silent as conflict cripples agriculture. Meitei ST demands not infringement upon others' rights, says ST-DCM. And the Manipur High Court gives NIA final 1-month deadline in Juribam killings case. Hello and a very good evening. Welcome to ELITETV. You're watching Primetime English News with me, Chongtham, Amrita. And now the news in details. Manipur's agriculture backbone is rapidly deteriorating under the weight of the ongoing ethnic conflict, threatening food security and economic stability across the state. Once a reliable source of livelihood for over 60% of the population, farming has come to a near standstill since violence broke out between the Meitei and Kuki communities in May 2023. Large tracts of fertile land now lie abandoned. In districts like Chongtham, entire villages have been cut off from their fields, caught in buffer zones that remain too dangerous to cross. Villagers in places like Ujungmakong, home to around 30 families, collectively own more than 15 hectares of farmland. None of it is currently in use. What were once productive fields now serve as tense, disputed zones lined with barricades instead of crop rows. The impact of this disruption extends beyond local communities. Agriculture accounts for nearly 22% of Manipur's gross state domestic product, which is the GSDP, and the prolonged halt in farming activity is leaving a mark on the state's economy. According to data from Manipur University, more than 5,000 hectares of farmland have been lying fallow for 2 consecutive years, resulting in an estimated loss of over 15,000 metric tons of rice. The figures highlight a sharp decline in food production with long-term implications for both supply chains and market stability. Farmers on both sides of the ethnic divide are facing the same crisis. Security concerns, lack of access to government support, and the ongoing risk of violence have pushed many into a state of helplessness. Even basic maintenance of land, such as clearing overgrowth or applying herbicides, has become difficult due to safety constraints. With no clear resolution in sight and little aid reaching those affected, Manipur's rural economy teeters on the edge. The longer fields remain uncultivated, the harder recovery will become, not just for individual farmers, but for the state's broader economic and social fabric. The Scheduled Tribe Demand Committee of Manipur, the ST-DCM, has once again urged the authorities to recognize the Meitei community as a scheduled tribe under the Constitution of India. In a press release issued on July 28, the committee clarified that their demand does not aim to infringe upon the rights or interests of other tribal communities in the state. The ST-DCM revealed that it had sought an appointment with the governor to personally present a memorandum highlighting what it perceives to be the root causes of the current unrest and explaining the long-standing rationale behind the ST status demand. However, in the absence of any response, the committee went ahead and submitted the memorandum to the governor, Ajay Kumar Bhalla. The committee recalled that the violent clashes which broke out on May 3, 2023 coincided with the Tribal Solidarity March organized by the All Tribal Students Union of Manipur, ATSAM. The march was staged in protest against the Manipur High Court's order dated April 19, 2023, which directed the state government to consider the ST status demand of the Meitei community. The STDCM, however, maintained that the court order itself was not the root cause of the violence as widely claimed, but rather the reaction to it, particularly in areas dominated by certain tribal groups. Unfortunately, some people have included those from highly responsible government authorities have made observations that the said Manipur High Court's order regarding the Meitei ST status demand is the root cause of the present crisis. STDCM has been refuting this allegation since the beginning of this crisis because the violent incidents broke out only in the areas where the Kuki and the allied groups are predominantly inhabited, whereas the rally was concluded peacefully in the areas inhabited by the other 20-odd plus non-Kuki groups, tribes of the state. Had the High Court's order been the root cause of the crisis, definitely violent incidents would have occurred in the areas inhabited predominantly by the tribes other than the Kuki groups, stated STDCM. The same march concluded peacefully in regions inhabited by other non-Kuki tribes, the STDCM emphasized, reiterating that its cause has been wrongly portrayed as antagonistic to the interests of other indigenous groups. The memorandum further stated that the Meitei community is one of the principal indigenous groups of Manipur, yet it has been excluded from the ST list since 1951 for reasons best known to the government. Due to this exclusion, the community has reportedly been deprived of constitutional safeguards for over 70 years, leaving it vulnerable to marginalization and what the committee describes as potential extinction in their own ancestral land. Highlighting the urgency of the matter, the STDCM urged both the state and central governments to take serious and immediate action on the demand. The committee insisted that granting ST status to Meiteis would help preserve their identity and ensure their rightful place among the indigenous peoples of Manipur, while also fostering harmony and equality across all ethnic communities in the state. The Manipur High Court has issued a final one-month extension to the National Investigation Agency, the NIA, to file a charge sheet in the Joribam killings case, warning that any further delay will be taken seriously. The case involving the abduction and murder of 6 people, including 3 minors, in November 2024 has remained unresolved for over 8 months, drawing widespread public concern. The decision came during a hearing on public interest litigation PIL number 18 of 2024, which was clubbed with miscellaneous case PIL number 28 of 2025. The petitioners, including Soram Tikendrajit, sought court-supervised progress in the high-profile investigation. A division bench of Chief Justice Kempaya Somasekar and Justice Ahantem Bimal Singh described the incident as grave and shocking. The NIA submitted 2 sealed cover reports outlining the current state of the probe. The documents have been ordered to be kept in the custody of the Registrar General until further direction. Senior Advocate K.H. Tarun Kumar, representing the petitioners, reminded the court that the abductions took place on November 11, 2024. 6 individuals, including 3 children, were reportedly abducted under suspicious circumstances. Their bodies were later recovered one by one from the Barak River, he told the bench. Tarun Kumar questioned the delay in filing a charge sheet despite the case being transferred to the NIA months ago. He pressed for time-bound progress, citing the psychological toll on the victims' families and the ongoing tension in the Joribam region. Responding to the concerns, Deputy Solicitor General of India K.H. Samarjit said the investigation was in its final phase and that the NIA was preparing the charge sheet under provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code and the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023. Key NIA officials present during the hearing included DIGP D. Sharavan, SP Ashish Kumar, Public Prosecutor Lokesh Kumar, and DSP Vikash Kumar. Advocate General Lenin appeared on behalf of the Manipur government. Samarjit requested a final extension to complete the procedural requirements, which the court granted, setting August 25 as the next hearing date. However, the bench made it clear that failure to show progress would invite judicial action. The personal appearance of NIA officers was waived for the next session, barring further instructions. Assam's Health, Family Welfare and Irrigation Minister Ashok Singhal distributed land title certificates to 2,145 families under the Forest Rights Act across 4 areas of Bishwanath district on Monday, July 28. This marks a significant step in granting legal recognition to forest dwellers who have lived on ancestral land for generations. The distribution took place in 4 revenue areas: 1,336 beneficiaries in Bishwanath, 157 in Gopur, 509 in Nandwar and 143 in Bihali, bringing the total number of land titles issued in the district to nearly 12,000. Addressing the gathering, Minister Singhal reiterated the Assam government's commitment to safeguarding indigenous rights. Under Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma's leadership, we have prioritized recognizing the forest-dwelling communities. From today, they will no longer be labeled as encroachers, he declared. Highlighting the significance of the initiative, Singhal emphasized that lack of land documents had deprived tribal families of essential government schemes. With legal ownership now granted, they are entitled to the same support as any other citizen, he noted. Singhal also reflected on the spiritual and ecological connection between tribal communities and nature, asserting that those who have worshipped nature for centuries are its true custodians. He recalled the historical legacy of the region, mentioning that the ancient Ban dynasty of undivided Sonitpur was ruled by a Bodo king, a lesser-known fact that underscores the deep roots of tribal heritage in Assam. The event witnessed the presence of several dignitaries, including MLAs Pramod Borathakur, Utpal Bora, Diganta Gohatowar, Jilla Parishad Chairperson Sunita Tanti, Deputy Commissioners Durvajyoti Das and Lukumani Bora, SP Shubhashis Barua and other senior officials. Tripura police seized cannabis valued at over ₹1 crore in 2 separate operations in Sepahijala district early Tuesday, arresting 1 person and recovering a major cache from a forested area. According to Sonamura police station, officer in charge Tapas Das, the first operation led to the arrest of the Indra Kumar Debbarma, from whom police recovered cannabis worth ₹28 lakhs. In a separate operation conducted in the early hours in Dhanirampur's dense forest, police found 386 kilograms of dry cannabis packed in 9 plastic drums. The consignment, discovered abandoned and unclaimed, was seized following legal procedures. Preliminary estimates place the market value of the seized forest consignment at ₹77.2 lakh. Investigators believe that the stash was being stored for illegal trafficking. A case has been registered and police have initiated a probe to track the individuals and networks involved in the smuggling. The Meghalaya High Court will examine allegations of wrongful revocation of street vendor licenses during a key hearing scheduled for August 5. The matter has drawn attention as it directly affects the livelihoods of several hawkers who claim they were excluded from relocation despite holding valid licenses. The court is set to review not only the issue of allegedly cancelling licenses, but also broader concerns related to vendor relocation, management of public vending zones, and the eviction of unlicensed sellers. These topics will be taken up under the main public interest litigation concerning street vending regulations. The state government had earlier informed the court that licensed vendors operating in the busy police bazaar area were successfully shifted to newly designated vending zones by the July 22 deadline. This development was in line with a prior court directive that extended the temporary vending period for licensed vendors until the relocation was completed. However, legal representatives for the affected hawkers maintained that several vendors were unable to move because their licenses were revoked without due cause. These cases will now be evaluated during the upcoming hearing, with MCPIL number 2 of 2025 now disposed of. The focus shifts to ensuring that vendor rights are protected while maintaining order in high traffic areas of Shillong. The Meghalaya Cricket Association has unveiled a 25-member shortlist for its senior women's cricket team, which will participate in the BCCI domestic tournaments for the 2025-26 season. This announcement comes as a significant step towards enhancing women's cricket in the state, reflecting the growing interest and talent pool in the region. The selection committee based their choices on the players' performances in recent trial matches, as well as their achievements during the 2024-25 and 2023-24 seasons. As the Meghalaya High Court reprimanded the state government over the disappearance of more than 4,000 tons of coal, a state minister on Monday suggested that heavy rainfall might have contributed to the loss. The High Court has directed the government to take action against officials responsible for the coal vanishing under their watch. Speaking to reporters, Excise Minister Kirman Shila said Meghalaya receives the highest rainfall. You never know, because of rain, the coal might have swept away. Chances are very high. The court on July 25 had questioned the state over the missing coal from Rajaju and Dingang villages and asked for those involved in the illegal lifting of coal to be identified. Shaila clarified that he was not justifying the disappearance and admitted there was no conclusive evidence to determine whether it was due to natural causes or unlawful activity. I cannot blame just the rain. It could be for, or it could not be. I really don't have any kind of details, he said. The minister emphasized that any coal mining or transportation must be done within the bounds of the law, and authorities must take action to curb illegal practices. On allegations of ongoing illegal coal mining and transport in the state, Shaila said that concrete evidence was necessary to support such claims and noted that multiple departments are responsible for monitoring these activities. But I believe that our people, if it is for survival, might do it illegally. Otherwise, nobody wants to do anything that can harm the state, he said. He expressed hope that people would follow legal procedures, especially after the government's announcement of scientific coal mining. We are all happy to welcome it, and we want to see the light of day with this. I believe our people will not do anything that gives this court or law a chance to point fingers at us, he added. The ban on coal mining and transportation in Meghalaya was imposed by the National Green Tribunal, the NGT, in 2014, following widespread concern over unregulated and hazardous mining practices, particularly their controversial red hole mining technique prevalent in East Jantia Hills. The tribunal cited environmental degradation, water contamination, and frequent fatalities in the region's mines as key reasons for the ban. For Elite TV News Channel, contact at email address info@elitetv.in or 9402890982, and subscribe to Elite TV YouTube channel or follow on Facebook page, Instagram and X for more information about the channel. And now, before we end, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Manipur's farmland falls silent as conflict cripples agriculture. Meitei SC demand not infringement upon others' rights, says SCDCM. And Manipur High Court gives NIA final 1-month deadline in Duribam killings case. Well, that was all the news we have for today. Thank you for tuning in and watching Elite TV English News. This is Amrita signing off for tonight. Have a good night.